Let me ask you something that might hit close to home. Have you ever caught yourself spiraling into doubt, replaying something you said last week, or worrying about things that haven't even happened yet? Maybe it starts as a simple moment of frustration, a mistake at work, a harsh comment from someone, or just waking up with that heavy feeling in your chest. But then it lingers, it loops, and before you know it, it's running the show. That's the thing about negative thinking. It doesn't always come in loud. Sometimes it whispers, quiet, familiar thoughts like, I always mess things up. Why do I even try? It's never going to get better. And slowly, it becomes a habit, a filter, a lens through which we see not just ourselves, but the world around us. But what if I told you something simple, yet powerful? Negative thinking is not who you are. It's just a pattern. And patterns, they can be changed. The ancient Stoics, philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, understood this long before neuroscience caught up. He once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Let that sink in for a second. You can't always control what happens around you. You can't stop life from being hard sometimes. But you can choose how you respond. You can choose what thoughts you give power to. And that choice, that moment of awareness, is where freedom begins. This video isn't about blind positivity or pretending everything is okay when it's not. It's about taking your power back. It's about understanding how your mind works, so it doesn't work against you. So if you've ever felt like your thoughts were dragging you down, if you're tired of carrying invisible weight through your day, stay with me. Because we're about to explore how to break the cycle of negative thinking and start building a mindset that supports your peace, your focus, and your strength. Let's begin. The power of controlling your perceptions. Let me tell you something that could change how you see your entire life. It's not what happens to you that causes pain. It's the story you tell yourself about it. That might sound strange at first, but stay with me. Think about this. You're working hard on a project. A coworker gives you some sharp feedback. Now, pause. Do you immediately spiral into, I'm not good enough, I'll never figure this out? Or do you stop and think, maybe this is a chance to learn, maybe this is exactly what I need to grow? The situation didn't change. The words were the same, but your interpretation, that changes everything. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic minds, said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That's powerful, because it reminds us, you are not a prisoner of your circumstances. You are the author of your perspective. So how do we begin to take control of that perspective, especially when negativity kicks in automatically? There are 3 steps. Simple, but transformative. Step 1. Awareness. Start noticing the stories you're telling yourself. When something frustrates you or someone lets you down, pause. What are you assuming? What labels are you attaching to that moment? Step 2. Challenge it. Ask, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Is there another way to see this that puts you in a place of strength rather than self-sabotage? Let's say you're stuck in traffic. Instead of stewing with anger, what if you asked, can I use this moment to breathe? Catch up on a podcast. Just be still for once. Small shift, huge difference. Step 3. Reframe. This is where the magic happens. Train your mind to look for possibility instead of failure. You're not ignoring reality. You're choosing to respond to it in a way that empowers you. Because here's the truth. The lens you look through shapes the life you experience. And if your lens is always tinted with fear, judgment, or doubt, even small bumps in the road will feel like mountains. But if you clean that lens, if you step back and choose clarity, you'll realize most of the things that once overwhelmed you were never really that big. They just looked big through the wrong filter. So the next time you catch yourself sinking into stress, frustration, or judgment, pause and remember, this isn't about the event. It's about my perception of it. And that is something I can control. Understanding the roots of negative thinking. Let's talk about where it really begins. Because negative thinking, it doesn't just show up out of nowhere. It's not something you were born with. It's something you learned, something your mind picked up, often when you were just trying to stay safe. Think about it. Maybe as a kid you were constantly judged, or maybe one time, just once, you tried something bold, and it backfired. And from that moment on, your mind whispered, "Let's not do that again." That's what negative thinking really is. It's not weakness. It's a defense mechanism. It's your brain trying to protect you from pain, rejection, embarrassment, and at one point, it probably worked. But here's the catch. What once protected you may now be the thing holding you back. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, the more you repeat a belief, even if it's false, the more it becomes part of your identity. Let's say you once froze during a presentation. Now every time you speak up, that memory echoes in your mind. What if I mess up again? So instead of stepping forward, you stay silent. Not because you're incapable, but because your brain is stuck in an old story. But here's the truth. That voice, that fear, it's outdated. It's based on a moment that no longer defines who you are. So how do we break the cycle? Step 1. Trace it back. When a negative thought hits, pause. Ask yourself, where did this come from? Is it something someone once told me? A failure I haven't forgiven? When you uncover the root, you start to loosen its grip. Step 2. Challenge it. Most of the time, our negative beliefs aren't facts. They're assumptions. So ask, is this still true? Is there evidence against it? If you're afraid of failing, remind yourself of all the times you didn't. Let your actual life speak louder than your fear. Step 3. Choose a better thought. Not a fake sugar-coated one. A truthful, empowering one. Instead of, "I'm terrible at this," try, "I'm learning. I'm improving. I'm not who I was last year." Because that's the power you have. You can't always control what shaped you, but you can absolutely choose what shapes you next. Your thoughts are habits, nothing more, and habits can be changed. So the next time you hear that old, familiar voice of doubt, pause. Ask where it came from. Ask if it's still true. And then answer it with something better. Because you're not broken, you're evolving. And this right here is part of the process. Renewing your mind. Let's talk about something most of us forget. Your mind is not set in stone. Those negative thoughts that show up every day, the ones that tell you you're not good enough, that you're too late, that you'll never get it right, they aren't truths, they're habits. And here's the powerful news. What your mind has practiced, it can unlearn. And what it has repeated in fear, it can rewire with strength. The ancient Stoic Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Let that land for a second. Because so often, we chase happiness through achievements, relationships, or success. But we forget that real peace starts inside, in the way we think, every single day. So how do we begin to renew our mind? It starts with something simple but rarely practiced: awareness. Throughout your day, pay attention to what you're saying to yourself. When you make a mistake, do you think, "I'm such an idiot"? When you feel tired, do you tell yourself, "I'll never get through this"? That inner dialogue is powerful because your brain is always listening. And it doesn't just hear you, it believes you. Now here's the key. You don't have to believe every thought that shows up. Just because a thought appears doesn't mean it's true, helpful, or worth your energy. This is where reframing comes in. Instead of thinking, "I can't do this," what if you said, "I'm learning," and every step forward counts? Same situation, completely different energy. Reframing isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about giving yourself the freedom to grow instead of staying stuck in defeat. Another tool, gratitude. It might sound cliché, but it's one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make. When life feels heavy, the mind focuses on what's missing. Gratitude shifts your attention to what's already here. Even something small, a warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend, a quiet moment to breathe, can break the momentum of negative thinking. Try this. At the end of the day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Big or small, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're training your mind to notice what's good, Because the more you practice seeing the good, the more your brain makes that your default. Think of your mind like a garden. You can let weeds grow wild, or you can choose what you want to plant. So ask yourself, what thoughts am I watering today? You have the power to renew your mind, to shift from criticism to compassion, from doubt to possibility. And it starts, not with a breakthrough, but with a choice. One thought at a time, creating a positive environment. Let's be real. Your environment is shaping your mind, whether you realize it or not. Not just your physical space, but the people you surround yourself with, the conversations you hear, the content you scroll. It all adds up quietly, and over time, it becomes your mental atmosphere. So let me ask you, when you walk into your home or open your phone, does it feel like a place that supports your peace? Or does it feel like noise, pressure, comparison, and stress? The Stoics believed that your inner peace was your greatest possession, and that protecting it wasn't selfish. It was wise. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." But here's the thing. The quality of your thoughts is often a reflection of what you allow into your space. Let's start with people. Take a moment to reflect. Who lifts you up? Who challenges you to grow, to stay grounded, to believe in yourself, especially on the hard days? Now, who drains you? Who leaves you feeling anxious, small, or stuck in negativity after every conversation? This isn't about judging others. It's about protecting your energy. You don't have to cut everyone off, but you can set boundaries. You can choose where your time and energy go. Next, take a look at your physical environment. Is your space cluttered, chaotic, overwhelming? Because that's often how your mind starts to feel too. Even small changes, like clearing off your desk, lighting a candle, or opening a window, can shift your mental clarity. When your surroundings are calm, your thoughts tend to follow. And don't forget your digital environment. Every scroll, every headline, every post you consume shapes how you feel. So here's a challenge. Unfollow anything that makes you feel less than. Mute the noise. Then, intentionally fill your feed with people, messages, and ideas that uplift you. Follow accounts that inspire you. Subscribe to voices that help you grow. Choose content that aligns with the person you want to become. Think of your environment like a garden. You can't control every storm that rolls in, but you can choose the soil, you can pull the weeds, and you can plant what you want to grow. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or drained, don't just push through. Pause, look around, and ask yourself, is my environment helping me or hurting me? Then take one small step to shift it, because even one change can ripple into clarity, energy, and peace. You deserve to live in a space, physically, emotionally, and digitally, that supports the life you're trying to build. And it starts with what you choose to allow in, taking stoic action. Let's be honest, sometimes thinking is the problem. We get caught in a loop of overanalyzing, worrying, and replaying the same fears over and over. And the longer we stay still, the louder those thoughts get. Here's what the Stoics knew. You don't break free from negative thinking by thinking harder. You break free by taking action. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, stop circling the problem. Start becoming the solution. When you're stuck in your head, the best move is to get into motion. It doesn't have to be huge. In fact, it shouldn't be. Here's the first principle of Stoic action. Focus only on what you can control. You can't control what other people think. You can't change the past. You can't predict the future, but you can choose your next move. And that's where your power lives. Second, start small. When a task feels overwhelming, break it down. Don't try to write the whole book. Write one sentence. Don't aim to perfect the project. Set a timer for 10 focused minutes. One tiny action disrupts the spiral. It gives your mind something real to work with, something solid. And from there, momentum begins. It's like standing at the base of a hill. You don't need to see the top, you just need to take the first step. Third, act in alignment with your values. This isn't just about doing something, it's about doing the right things, the things that reflect who you want to be. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? What kind of person do I want to become? If courage matters, speak up, especially when it's hard. If kindness matters, show up for someone, even when you feel off. When your actions reflect your values, you don't just do more, you become more. So here's the takeaway. When your thoughts feel heavy, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for clarity. Clarity comes from action, not before it. Do one small thing, right now, within your control, aligned with your values. Because every step you take weakens the grip of fear. Every action you take is proof to your mind. I'm not stuck. I'm moving forward. And that is the Stoic path, not waiting to feel brave, but acting with intention, even in uncertainty. You don't need a breakthrough. You just need to begin. The power of words. Here's something we don't talk about enough. Words are not just words. They are builders, or they are breakers. And the most powerful ones, they're not the ones you say out loud. They're the ones you say to yourself when no one's listening. Think about the last time you made a mistake. What did your inner voice say? Was it something like, I'm such a failure, or why do I always mess this up? We brush those thoughts off like they're harmless, but they're not. Every word you think is a message your mind listens to, and the more you repeat it, the more you believe it. The Stoics knew this long before psychology did. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." And I'd add, the words you choose shape the life you live. Let's break this down with a simple example. You could say, I failed, or you could say, I'm learning through this mistake. One closes the door, the other opens a path forward. Same situation, completely different story. This is the power of reframing, and it starts with your self-talk. Start noticing your patterns. Do you say, I'm always like this, or nothing ever works for me? These aren't just thoughts, they're limits you're placing on yourself. So here's the first step. Catch the story you're telling. Then ask, is this helping or hurting me? If it's hurting, rewrite it. You have that power. But it's not just about your inner voice. The words you speak to others matter just as much. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling heavier, just from the energy of it? Maybe it was gossip, or complaining, or constant negativity. Words carry weight, and what you put out into the world often circles right back to you. So here's the second step. Speak with intention. It doesn't mean being fake or overly positive. It means choosing words that reflect the kind of energy you want to live in. For example, instead of saying, this day is a disaster, try, this day is tough, but I'm handling it. That small shift won't erase your struggle, but it changes the way you move through it. And finally, use words to build. Try this practice. Each night, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Or say a few affirmations each morning like, I'm capable, I'm growing, I'm showing up today. It might feel strange at first, but over time, your mind will start to believe what you consistently repeat. Think of your words like seeds. Negative ones plant weeds. Positive ones plant roots of strength, clarity, and resilience. The choice of what to plant is always yours. So the next time you catch yourself spiraling, pause and ask, is this the story I want to live by? Then change the script, one word at a time. Cultivating emotional resilience. Let's be honest, life isn't always gentle. There are days when nothing goes to plan, moments that hit you out of nowhere, loss, rejection, change. And in those moments, the question isn't, how do I avoid this pain? It's, how do I stay grounded while it happens? That's what emotional resilience is. It's not about pretending to be strong. It's not about hiding how you feel. It's about being able to bend without breaking. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." And that's the foundation of resilience. Focusing on what's within your control, especially when everything around you feels like chaos. Let's break it down. Step 1. Accept what you can't control. This is hard because we want certainty. We want things to go our way. But so much of life is unpredictable, and fighting reality only creates more suffering. Resilience begins the moment you say, I don't like this, but I accept it. From that place of acceptance, you can respond with clarity rather than being ruled by emotion. Step 2. Reframe failure as feedback. When something goes wrong, it's easy to spiral. I failed. I messed up. I'm not good enough. But what if you asked instead, what is this teaching me? The Stoics believed that obstacles aren't there to stop you. They're there to shape you. Every setback holds a seed of growth, if you choose to look for it. Step 3. Practice mindfulness and self-compassion. When life feels overwhelming, your nervous system goes into overdrive. You react, you shut down, or you explode. But what if you paused and just breathed? Mindfulness isn't about emptying your mind. It's about noticing what's happening without judgment. It's giving yourself a moment of stillness so you can respond, not just react. And while you're at it, speak to yourself like you would to a friend. You wouldn't tell them, you're a failure. You'd say, this is hard, but you're doing your best. Offer that same kindness to yourself. You deserve it. Resilience isn't a superpower, it's a skill. One that gets stronger every time you choose courage over comfort, presence over panic, compassion over criticism. So the next time life shakes you, pause. Remind yourself, this is tough, but I'm tougher. Because resilience isn't about escaping storms. It's about becoming the kind of person who can walk through them, calm, steady, and still moving forward. And that strength, it's already inside you. Practicing gratitude as a mindset shift. Let me ask you something simple but powerful. When was the last time you felt truly grateful? Not just said thank you, but actually paused and felt it. We live in a world that trains us to focus on what we lack. More money, more time, more success, more followers. And in the chase, we overlook what's already here. But here's the truth. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel good. It rewires your mind to see differently. Where most people see what's missing, gratitude shows you what's present. Where others complain, gratitude helps you see clearly. It shifts your lens from scarcity to sufficiency. The Stoic Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you do not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then remember how you would crave them if they were not yours." That's not just poetic, it's practical. Because the moment you lose something you once took for granted, health, time, freedom, you realize just how precious it was. So how do we bring gratitude into real life? Not just as a nice idea, but as a mindset. Here are 3 practices. 1. Keep a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you're thankful for. They don't have to be profound. Maybe it's your morning coffee, a text from a friend, the way sunlight hit your window. It's not about being perfect, it's about training your brain to notice what's working. 2. Express it out loud. Send a message. Say the words. Thank you for listening. I really appreciated your help today. These small moments of acknowledgement ripple far beyond what you can see. Gratitude doesn't just lift you, it lifts the people around you. 3. Find light in dark moments. When life feels hard, gratitude isn't denial. It's the quiet strength of saying, this hurts, but I'm still breathing. Or, this is frustrating, but I'm learning something from it. Even in pain, there's something to hold on to, if you choose to look. Think of gratitude like lighting a candle in a dark room. It doesn't eliminate the darkness completely, but it gives you enough light to take the next step. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, disappointed, or stuck, pause and ask yourself, what's one thing right now that I can be grateful for? It may be small, but it might just change the way you see everything. Because when you live from gratitude, you're no longer chasing happiness. You're recognizing that much of it is already here. Embracing impermanence. Here's a hard but beautiful truth. Everything changes. The highs, the lows, the people we love, the seasons of life. None of it lasts forever. And yet, most of our suffering doesn't come from the change itself. It comes from resisting it. We want things to stay the same. We cling to comfort, routine, familiarity. But life, by its very nature, is always moving, always evolving. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminded us, All things pass away. What remains is how you respond. Think about that. You can't stop time. You can't freeze the perfect moment. You can't undo the painful one. But you can choose your response to it. When you embrace impermanence, something powerful happens. You stop trying to control the uncontrollable. You stop holding on so tightly and start learning how to let go. When life throws you a curveball, remind yourself, this too shall pass. That phrase isn't passive, it's perspective. It reminds you that no feeling is final. No season lasts forever. Grief softens. Joy fades. But what remains is your ability to stay present, even when it's messy. So how do we start living this way? First, practice presence. Don't wait for a perfect future to appreciate what's in front of you. That smile, that sunrise, that quiet cup of coffee in the morning. They're here now, and they won't be forever. So notice them, feel them, be grateful for them while they're still yours. Second, loosen your grip on perfection. When we try to make everything just right, every plan, every outcome, we suffer. Because perfection isn't real. Life is fluid. You'll make mistakes. Things will go differently than you imagined. And that's not failure, that's life. Adapt, adjust, flow with it. The Stoics didn't chase control. They practiced acceptance. Not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Think of impermanence like a river. It's never still. You can't hold the water in your hands, but you can learn to move with its current. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by change, pause, breathe, and say to yourself, this moment is temporary, but how I move through it, that's what lasts. Because in a world where everything shifts, peace comes not from holding on, but from knowing when to let go. Building a purpose-driven life. Let's talk about something that quietly shapes everything: purpose. Because here's the truth. When you don't know where you're going, every bump in the road feels like a breakdown. But when you're clear on your why, even the hard days make sense. Lack of purpose is one of the biggest roots of negativity. It's what makes small problems feel massive. It's what turns discomfort into despair. But once you find that sense of direction, once you know what truly matters to you, you move differently. You bounce back faster. You stop chasing what's shiny and start building what's real. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "People who labor all their lives but have no purpose to direct every thought and impulse are wasting their time, even when hard at work." Busyness is not the same as meaning. And success without purpose, it's just exhaustion in disguise. So how do you find your purpose? Start by asking simple but deep questions. What gives me energy? When do I feel most alive, most useful, most aligned? What impact do I want to leave behind, even in small moments? Your purpose doesn't have to be loud or public. It could be raising a family with intention, creating, teaching, supporting, healing. What matters is that it feels true to you. Once you get even a glimpse of that clarity, act on it. Purpose isn't something you discover once and then sit on. It's something you build, one aligned decision at a time. Let your daily actions reflect your core values. If your purpose is connection, put your phone down and look someone in the eye. If your purpose is growth, say yes to the challenge even when it's scary. If your purpose is service, show up for someone who needs help, even in small ways. The beauty of purpose is that it gives pain a context. When things fall apart, it reminds you, this isn't the end. This is part of the process. Purpose filters out the noise. It helps you say no to distractions, comparisons, and quick fixes. Because you're building something bigger than the moment. So if life feels heavy right now, ask yourself, what actually matters to me? And what's one small step I can take today to live in alignment with that? Because once you walk with purpose, even the detours feel meaningful. You won't always feel motivated. You won't always feel certain. But purpose? It's not a feeling. It's a foundation. And when you build from that place, you're not just surviving, you're becoming. Conclusion: the power within your mind. Let me leave you with this. Negative thinking is not your destiny. It's just a pattern, one you've repeated, and anything you've practiced. You can unlearn. You can reshape. You can rise beyond. Maybe that voice in your head has been there for years. Maybe it told you you're not enough, or this is just the way I am. But here's the truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of those thoughts, and that means you have a choice. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Let that sink in. You don't need to control the world. You don't need every moment to be perfect. You just need to return, again and again, to that quiet place within you where clarity lives, where choice lives, where strength begins. So, what now? Don't wait for a dramatic breakthrough. Start small. One thought, one decision, one step at a time. Maybe today you practice gratitude, not because everything's perfect, but because you're training your mind to see what's still good. Maybe you set a boundary, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Maybe you reframe one story you've been telling yourself, like, "I'm falling behind. I'm building at my own pace." It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be honest, consistent, aligned. And once you do, share it. Share what you're learning. Because someone else needs that light too. That's how we shift things, not just within ourselves, but in the people around us. So if no one has told you lately, you're not broken, you're becoming. And every choice you make to think differently, to live differently, is a quiet revolution, a reclaiming of your mind, a return to your power. And remember, that power was never outside you. It's been here all along. So take the next step, the smallest one, and watch what unfolds.